So there's been a lot of news recently about toxic masculinity. Today I want to share two books that are sort of that promote the opposite of that. So anti toxic masculinity. And so the first one is this that just came in the mail, and it's called, let me see if you can see it, Want to Play Trucks. And it's from Candlewick Press, and it's by Stott, who is a art director there, and illustrated by Bob Graham. And it just, starts off two boys in a park with their parents. And I like that it also has a little bit of a diversity angle. And one boy loves dolls with tutus, and one boy loves trucks. And so this book is all about what they have in common and how they're able to play dolls and trucks. And, and it really isn't an issue, dolls versus trucks, until they get to the part where they're talking about, who can wear a tutu and drive a crane. So, like, they get into conflict. Before that, they're not really having much conflict. They're just expressing what they like about trucks and what they like about dolls with tutus and the different things that trucks can do, and then the different kind of dance moves that the dolls can do. But at this point, they're like, the guy who likes trucks, Alex, says, you can't wear a tutu and drive a crane. And so they get into a little bit of an altercation. They're fighting. No, you can't. Yes, you can. And, Alex, Jack has a good point. He's like, the tutu won't fit in the driver's seat. And so Alex says, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And so he just changes his doll into purple overalls. So here he's changing his doll. And then it's perfectly fine. And the dolls and trucks continue until it's time for ice cream, because both dolls, trucks, and little boys and their siblings and their moms like ice cream. So this is a really nice story about dolls versus trucks, and that boys can play with, toys that are typically girl-gendered. And then the other one, which Julián is a Mermaid, which is a really beautiful book by Jessica Love. Some people put this on LGBTQ lists, which I think is fine and it's great, but it isn't necessarily. It's just a boy who is with his grandmother, and they're on the subway, and he sees these, beautiful women as mermaids, and perhaps these are transgendered women. It's not super clear. And then he decides, he sort of has some fantasy moments where he's just enjoying being in the water and swimming and imagining himself as a mermaid, because, mermaids are cool. And then decides, that he too can recreate a mermaid costume at home. And at first his grandmother is a little disapproving when she first sees him, it seems. But then she actually offers him accessories, and then they go to the beach where those three beautiful mermaids that he spotted earlier are leading like a kind of parade. And, it isn't necessarily, I think this book is also just about expressing yourself and using your imagination as much as it is as well supporting LGBTQ themes. And so I just want to conclude with, I had a boyfriend in college, and he was, one of 5 children, Catholic family. I think he was the 4th. And he had 2 older sisters and 2 other brothers. And, he played with dolls. Like, when he had, Christmas or birthday, he wanted a doll. And so his parents got him the doll. And, he played happily with the doll for years. And, it's perfectly fine. He ended up, the starting quarterback in our college, which, we didn't have the greatest football team ever, but he was the starting quarterback. And, it wasn't necessarily an indication of any kind of, anything related to sexual identity. It's just that, you know, he had sisters that had dolls, and he liked to use his imagination that way. And so I think a lot of times part of the toxic masculinity is this fear of my child is not going to be, you know, cisgendered. But, you know, so I use my boyfriend in college as an example. That's not necessarily the case. So anyway, these are 2 great books for boys or for girls. And so I hope you get a chance to read them and enjoy them too.